What's up, guys? I am Caleb Giddings, aka Mr. Revolver, and today we are doing a gun review. And it's a gun review that a lot of you have asked for because it is without a doubt the well, not the best selling gun, but one of the best selling guns that Taurus USA makes, and that is the Taurus G3. Now, why are we doing this review, right? Well, as you guys know, here's the caveat right up front. I work for Taurus. I am the general manager of marketing for Taurus USA, and because of that, I get asked for my opinions on a lot of our products. And I have a very firm policy that I don't give my opinion on our products until I have what I determine to be a significant amount of trigger time on them. Because I don't want to give you guys the last thing that I want to do is get a gun and say it's great when I haven't shot it a bunch myself. And I have now shot the G3 platform across multiple different gun types enough to have a very strong opinion of it. So first, I'll give you guys a little background on the different G3s that I've shot. So I've shot a G3 compact for like 1,500 rounds. Gun's great, love it. I think it's actually one of the best guns in our lineup. And then over the last year, I've shot two different full-size G3s. So I have a G3 Tactical that has about 1,300 rounds on it. And then I have the gun that is the subject of this review, this Taurus G3 TORO. TORO stands for Taurus Optics Ready Option. This is the gun that I just finished shooting the NRA, not the NRA, sorry guys. This is the gun that I just finished shooting the CMP Bianchi Cup with. I put up a close to personal best score of 1689. And yeah, the gun's great. This gun has almost 1,700 rounds on it as of right now. And let's talk about this particular G3 Toro model first. So this is not a cataloged model that we have. This is a Talo special edition that we did. So as you can see, we've got the Go Fast cuts on the barrel. We have the gold coated barrel, which I think looks awesome. And then what I did on this one is I changed out the front sight for an Ameriglow fiber optic front sight, which you can buy on shoptaurus.com. This is also, again, the Taurus Optics Ready option, so you can mount a number of different dots to it. It comes in the box with different plates that work as adapters for each dot. What I did with this one, when I did have a dot on it not too long ago, was I bought the direct mount dot from C&H Precision, and I put that on there because that mounts to the slide without the need for any sort of an adapter plate. However, and this is the important thing about this gun, it is entirely mechanically the same as any other Taurus G3. Just like the one that I have as my carry gun right now, which is not optics ready, this gun, that gun, the G3 Tactical, mechanically all function exactly the same. They have a, Browning style recoil mechanism, and they have the unique Taurus trigger, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But let's talk real quick about other features. So this gun normally comes with a white dot front sight. I replaced that with a fiber optic because the original intention of this gun and the other iron-sighted gun that I have were to shoot production steel challenge. And the way this dot is set up, I basically put the big fat red sight over. I basically set this up to shoot it like a red dot gun. I put the big red dot on the target, centered roughly in between the rear sight, press trigger, bullet hits. I will caveat this was not an optimal sight setup for Bianchi Cup. If I come back to Bianchi Cup next year and shoot this same gun, I will go with a black front sight, and I will pick a front sight height that allows me to shoot a 6 o'clock hold on the 4-inch X-ring, because this was having to cover the entire plate at 15 yards with the red dot was not super optimal for accuracy. But I did all right. Again, I shot almost a PR, and the PR that I shot when I shot it 10, 14, 12 years ago, I shot a PR with a Tanfoglio stock 2. And that Tanfoglio stock 2 is like $1,500. This is $350. Now let's talk about that for a minute. Where did I get this gun? I did not get this gun from the Taurus factory. Like everything I do when I do these long-term test guns, when I do these reviews, I buy it from a retailer on the internet. And then I get it shipped to me because I want to get the exact same gun and the exact same experience that the consumer is getting, which I've done with this G3. Other things that I like about this gun. So the rear sight is a Glock dovetail. You'll see in our press materials me talking about industry standard dovetails. That's code for Glock dovetails. I don't feel the need to change this rear sight. I actually think it's really good because it's got a nice wide notch, which allows a lot of light in around the front sight if I'm shooting with irons. And again, I changed the front to a high vis fiber optic. For Bianchi Cup specifically, I would change it to something else, but that is a sport specific change. For general EDC and the vast majority of competition shooting applications, this fiber optic front sight is actually what I need, and it's perfect for the shooting that I do 90% of the time. Bianchi Cup is its own special thing. And if I come back and I shoot a semi auto next year at Bianchi Cup, I will have a different sight set up, but I want to get that out of the way. The only other mod that I've done to this gun is I have wrapped the grip in goon tape. Why do I wrap my guns in goon tape? Well, the stippling on the G3 is actually pretty aggressive. Like the factory texture pattern is fairly aggressive. And on the one of these that is my carry gun, that texturing wears against my skin and it gets pretty unpleasant pretty quickly. So I was like, let's delete that by wrapping both guns in goon tape. And then I want my competition gun and my carry gun to be the same. I want them to feel the same in the hand, so we wrap this one in goon tape. What do I like about the goon tape? The biggest thing about it is that it is, I don't know what the sciencey word for this is, but it absorbs moisture, right? So if I pick this gun up and my hands are sweaty, the goon tape helps my hand adhere to the gun, but it doesn't make my hand adhere to the gun so aggressively that I can't take it off the gun to do something like a reload or a mag change or something like that. All right, so features. We've covered the sights. Again, this one is special. It's got the sight cut and it's got the barrel, the cool gold barrel. It has all of them have a pick rail on them. You can mount, optic or not optics. You can mount various lights, lasers, whatever your heart desires. I usually will throw a TLR1 on here if I want to put an optic on it. This particular model has a manual safety, which is your discretion whether or not you want to use it. I run mine with the safety off at all times. I don't engage the safety except for two things. I will engage the safety when I'm doing administrative gun handling tasks, right? So if I'm unloading the gun or something like that, the safety locks the slide up. So I've got to do that, and then I can put the safety back on for any other sort of manipulations. Safety also obviously blocks the trigger. The other time I use the manual safety on this gun is when I'm holstering at the appendix position. So as I initiate the holster process, we go, bang, 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 we shoot, we feel cool. Come back here, safety on, orient the gun down, make sure my holster is clear, look it into the holster, and then as I holster, safety comes off. All right. And that is how I safely holster this gun. My G3 Tacticals do not have manual safeties on them, and I carry them the exact same way. I just make sure that when I'm holstering, the finger is in high register and nowhere near the trigger, and that the holster is clear first. The magazines that this gun comes with are the 15-round mags made by Metgar. The G3 Tactical, which I have, comes with 17-round magazines. I prefer and I recommend the 15 rounders. The 17 rounders, in my experience, which is a cumulative, 3,000, 3,500 rounds, the 17 rounders are more likely to experience feed issues with various types of ammunition than the 15 rounders. The 15 rounders have been absolutely stone reliable with everything I've tried to put through them, whether it's jacketed hollow points or FMJ or even some, otter bullet, flat nose bullet profiles. So 15 rounders are the way to go. These are available on shoptaurus.com. And if you use my code Mr. Revolver, all caps, one word, you get 25% off. So bear that in mind. 15 round magazines, fantastic for these guns. I love them. Absolutely recommended. To the point that I actually run the 15 rounders in my G3 Tacticals, even though they come with the 17 rounders. I'll use the 17 rounders for range stuff and things like that, but for matches, anything serious like personal protection, 15's all the way. And that is just my opinion. Let's see. All right, now we've talked about all of this. The extractor, fine. It takes down like a Glock. So we have a takedown lever right here that you pull down just like a Glock to take the gun apart. If you've ever taken a Glock apart, this takes apart the same way. It detail strips in a fashion fairly similar to the Glock as well. Let's talk about the trigger. So this is one of the things that people either love or hate about the G3 is the way that the trigger works. And we're going to talk about that for a second. So it is SADA, or what Taurus refers to, what we refer to as the restrike system. So take a magazine, stick it in the gun, rack around into the chamber. The trigger is now in single action mode. It is a fully prepped striker, just like a lot of other striker fired guns on the market. It's now single action. The break on this gun, which is pretty well shot in, is about 3.5 pounds, which is exactly where I want it for a carry gun. When the gun cycles, if you care about this sort of thing, which I don't, the reset is actually very short and very positive, and then your trigger take up is extremely minimal after that. Again, to that 3 pound wall. It is a very, very shootable trigger. Now, here's where the restrike or DA portion of that comes in. To, let's say I get a light primer strike and I'm like, oh crap, the gun didn't go off. I can release this trigger all the way and it resets to the DA mode, similar to the old SIG DAK trigger. And then I can crunch all the way through that, which again, still not a bad trigger press, and theoretically get the round to go off. I have found in my experience and being a relatively well trained shooter that if I get a light primer strike in this gun, I just tap rack it because that's what I've been doing for 100 million years with these guns. And it is ingrained in me that that is the immediate action to do if I get a light primer strike is a tap rack. So to me, that restrike doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's in the gun. And so now let's talk about what is good about it. So what's good about it is to allow for that restrike to happen. When the gun's actually loaded and in SA mode, I have all of this take up before the gun actually makes a loud noise, right? You can see I have a significant amount of take up in the trigger. What that does is it makes this gun work in many ways like the HK Light LEM trigger, which if you don't know, the Light LEM trigger the idea was to put a trigger in a gun that has the same amount of travel as a DA revolver trigger, but is a light pull weight, which is exactly what this is. This has a similar amount of travel to my DA revolver triggers, but it has a, 3.5 pound break. So you end up with essentially a Brazilian version of the light LEM trigger, which means if I'm on target and I've got my finger off the trigger and I've made a shot decision and I'm going through the slack and then I suddenly don't need to make that shot decision, there is more space for me to back off. I think that's a good feature. I'm very fond of it. Let's talk about the other cool thing that this does. This gun with the striker now dropped is the best damn polymer framed striker fired dry fire tool on the freaking planet. All right. At a meeting at NRA annual meetings with like the laser ammo dudes, and you could put one of their 9mm laser cartridges in here and just dry fire your heart out, and it'll friggin' shoot a beam out of the barrel with that laser cartridge every time. So if you go buy one of the stock ones, like the non-Toro model, it's like $260 and there's rebates and stuff on it. Buy a laser cartridge, drop it in there, and now you can freaking, with an optic or whatever, you can just dry fire, just dry fire your heart out. Just dry fire until your finger explodes, or you snap the striker spring, or the trigger return spring breaks. And then if you do that, just send it back to Taurus because it's covered under its lifetime warranty and they'll fix it for free. So if you break one of these because you've dry fired it 100,000 clicks, just send it back. Get it fixed for free. It's fantastic. There is a fairly robust aftermarket for these guns. There's holsters, there's obviously sights because they use Glock sights, optics because they use optics. Galloway Precision offers a spring kit for this, as well as a trigger that you can use that replaces this trigger shoe, and it has a pre-travel reduction. So if you don't like all of this pre-travel, you can delete it. I don't recommend installing aftermarket parts on our guns because it voids your warranty and blah, 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 blah. And honestly, quite frankly, I don't think the gun needs aftermarket parts installed on it to be good. With this exact gun, I shot a 1680, whatever I just said earlier, 1689 at Bianchi Cup, all right? If I had better sights on this gun, better sights for Bianchi Cup, I would have shot a 1700, no question. With a G3 Tactical, I shot Graybeard Actual's 345 skill card. Again, factory gun, factory trigger, nothing has changed on it. This trigger is actually really good. Again, you 3.5 pounds right there at the wall. If you don't have to pin and reset, but if you only reset it a little bit, if I just go click, I'm not saying to be a click banger or to ride the reset, but if I'm just resetting a little bit, there's not a lot of trigger take up there to get through. So the trigger on this gun's really good. The gun's really good. And again, the non-Toro iron sight model is 200, like MSRP is like 250, right? The Toro model that doesn't have the cool barrel cutouts is like maybe 300. This model with the cool barrel cutouts is 350 to 400. And the G3 Tactical, because it comes with a bunch of stuff, is like 400 to 450. I have four of these, and I bought them all with my own money, and I spent less than $1,500 to get all four of them. I have one that's got a Trijicon SRO on it. The SRO costs more than the gun itself. Like there's there's such a tremendous value prop in these guns that I don't think people understand because we've made a $250 9mm pistol that works. Does this one have 10,000 rounds on it? No. Will I get it to that number? I don't know, maybe. I'm like a squirrel. I get distracted by different shooting projects, and it's really hard for me to stay focused on something long enough to hit that round count. Last year, getting one gun to 10,000 rounds was a Herculean effort for me. Do I have every confidence that if I change my recoil springs and keep up on my maintenance, this gun will get to 10,000 rounds? Yeah, absolutely. Polymer frame striker fired 9mm. Gun is fine. And I don't know. I I definitely didn't know as much about these guns coming into this project as I thought I did because I've been on the internet and I've seen all sorts of, silly commentary about the G3s and stuff like that. But the gun works great. It, I don't know what else you want. And again, if you're like, okay, what's a brand new SIG P365 or a SIG, 320 running these days, right? Like six, $700. I know maybe eight. I can get two of these for what a 320 would cost me, and I can shoot one of them until it falls apart at 10,000 rounds, and I've spent more than quintuple the cost of gun on the ammo, and then carry the other one, or I could get one SIG P320 and I don't know, not shoot it as much, I guess. So the, honestly, I know I work for Taurus, and someone in the comments is going to be like, "Oh, you're only just saying that because you work for them." I only got this gun because I work here. Yeah, that's true, but my reaction is genuine. I'm flabbergasted about how good these guns are and how easy they are to shoot. Part of me, after shooting this at Bianchi and all of that, wants to keep shooting this gun and go make Master in Steel Challenge with it because I think it'd be a freaking cakewalk. Like, master of production, cakewalk with this piece of cake. Maybe I'll go do that after this video and see if I can, grind it out in like 5 or 6 months of seriously shooting Steel Challenge. But yeah, the net on this is that the gun's good. It's 250 bucks or 300 or 400 depending on which model you get. We have a gajillion SKUs. We have the G3 Compact, which is phenomenal. We have the Compact and the Toro. We have one SKU that I really like that is the G3 XL. So the G3 XL, and this is important, this one's actually my favorite as a carry gun. The G3 XL uses a G3 compact frame. So take about, an inch off this frame, it becomes a 12 plus one gun, but it uses the same long slide as the G3. So you get, a 4-inch slide, better sight radius, and all of that stuff. It's like the Colt CCO of the G3 series. And now what you could do, and this is a thing that is real because we don't offer this configuration. So we don't offer a G3 XL Toro, but let's say you get a G3 compact, right? And that G3 compact you like, but you want more slight sight radius and also a dot. So you go to shoptaurus.com and you buy one of our G3 Toro slides, which looks like this except for the speed cuts. You put that on your G3 compact, and all of a sudden you have a G3 XL Toro, a SKU that does not exist. It's not something that we make, but is a really banging good carry gun, like a phenomenal gun to carry concealed because you have longer slide, longer recoil spring, helps absorb recoil. I think longer slides are less snappy in recoil, which I like. You have the optics option because it's a Toro, but you still have the shorty little grip, so it's easily concealed. It just is a great option, and you could build it with money. I've done it. I strongly recommend you do it. And that is it for this review of the Taurus G3 Toro. I'm Caleb Giddings. Thanks for watching.